Welcome to our really abbreviated Unit 5 lecture. I will and still put up full content for those of you who are needing to keep a regular schedule or who want to dive in a little deeper into some theological concepts that we'll cover in this class. This unit is already quite short. You'll notice I tried to cover the key aspects of the Christian tradition in terms of their theological backdrop and in terms of what translates to the world today, at least in my view. So today we'll be talking a little bit about anthropology. We'll talk about soteriology and Christology and what those words mean. We'll also talk about the sacraments briefly, and then we'll end up talking about ecclesiology. So we're going to go all the way from creation to the end, hopefully in a 15-ish, 20-ish minute lecture. I'm not sure if I have to write backwards or forwards for this, so I'm going to try writing forwards, and if that doesn't work, then I'll write backwards. A skill that I learned as a junior high girl, thinking, oh, I can write forwards. Yay! I actually can write backwards and forwards equally well, which is a weird, in junior high, my friends and I thought that we were really, really covert by learning how to write backwards for the notes we were passing in junior high. All right, so first we're talking about anthropology. And creation. So anthropos is the word for human in Greek. So anthropology is the study of humankind. It often studies the development of people groups and then behaviors and cultural backdrops of these people groups. And in the Christian tradition, these come together in that when we go to Genesis 1 through 3, we see the creation of the human creature along with the creation of the things around the human creature for sustaining their life, created in relatively close succession. So in Genesis 1, it's created in a series of 6-day creative moves. And in Genesis 2, all of the human is created, and then the things necessary for human survival is created. So they're different cosmologies, like we talked, but they're also different anthropologies. So Genesis 1 has the human creature being the so-called crown of creation, where everything for this creature's thriving had been already created for the human creature, and the human creature and his partner were created simultaneously well, according to Genesis 1, 27 and 28. So it's a different view of the human, whereas in Genesis 2, the human creature is made out of the dust. There's already plants there. There's already a river that's watering creation. And then the human creature is created. And then as the human creature is longing for companionship, which some of us can probably identify with now as we're holed up in our homes, the creator sent to the human creature lots of different creatures. And then the human creature is tied even more closely in with creation as we continue to Genesis 3. Where the human creature is given the command to care for the earth, or in Genesis 2 and Genesis 1. So in Genesis 1, the human creature is given the command to dominate and subdue, whereas in Genesis 2, the human creature is given the command to till and to basically to serve. And these different moves both give a lot of power to the human creature, But the posture of the human creature is different. Does the human is it a hierarchy, as Genesis 1 portrays, where the human creature is kind of at the top of this pyramid, or is it more an egalitarian view where this human creature is caring for the things around it, um, but is more embedded in as part of the creation as opposed to being kind of the crown of creation. And these different views have been adopted by various Christian communities. There isn't one way to view the human's position in the world. It's interesting now the ways in which humankind looks at the world around us. Is the world around us something that has resources that we're able to take and take and take because they're here for us, or are the resources here for the human creature to preserve? You'll notice I give two options. By now in the class, you'll know that there's very rarely only two options. There's a whole lot of ground between humans justifying taking things from the earth beyond what the humans need versus the humans not taking anything out of the earth. Because we live, we have a carbon footprint simply because we exist, regardless of how large or small we try to make our footprint. We still have one, and I think it's important to bear in mind, to be mindful of how we engage the world around us. How do we care for creation? How do we care for other creatures? And how do we care for other humans? Which is a really prescient question right now. How do we take care of one another? How do we take care of one another when global crises hit? How do we care about each other when we're not sure quite how to care for ourselves? These questions do not have easy answers. And I think that invitation to the complexity is really important, and really important to be attentive to, regardless of whether you happen to identify with the Christian tradition or not. Thinking about how we're situated in the world, I think, is a really important conversation.